Jagex is on a nerfing spree, and this week's update features some major changes to the wilderness. Let's talk about it, so whenever you're ready, grab your cup of tea, sit back, relax, and enjoy. Over 60% of my viewers aren't subscribed, and as I'm closing in on that big 100,000 subscriber milestone, I'd like to remind you to subscribe. Let's move on. When I say major changes, I mean it. First of all, the planned threat system removal has been implemented in the live game, and you will no longer see volcanic attacks or ambush spawns inside the wilderness. If you're wondering why it was removed, in short, they didn't really like the system, the players didn't really like the system, and instead of wasting developer time to fix it or replace it with something else, they simply removed it for the better. If you're wondering about those wilderness threat items, they of course now no longer have a use, but you're able to high alch them for quite some GP. The next part of the wilderness that is being changed are cursed wisps, as the cursed wisp system has been removed. Every single bit of cursed energy in the game will automatically be converted on June the 5th to regular energies and is untradeable. The reason Jagex is removing cursed wisps from the game is because they aren't a relevant training method for players that do not have PvP turned on, and because cursed wisps are a popular method of tricking players into PvP to then lure them. I've been saying cursed energy needs to be removed for quite some time now, so to see it actually being removed is nice to see. Wilderness Flash events now have a 50-minute warlock to receiving a reward bag, which I believe means you're no longer able to hop worlds to quickly get another loot bag, but I could be wrong there. Generic bags now also give out reduced necronium salvage, so you'll be making less alchable money from these loot bags, but the special loot bags have had a major overhaul when it comes to rewards. This includes less chance of getting those pesky common Dragon Rider boots and gloves, reduced salvage, but a higher chance of getting those dark cores, which is the drop everyone wants. If you complete a Wilderness Flash event with a full inventory and bank, the reward bag will be stored in a temporary inventory at the Wilderness event host NPCs, so these guys, but it will not be kept upon logging out. So you have to claim it before logging out. A couple of monster spawns have been moved around the wilderness, with two relevant examples being Glaciers, which are now sitting next to the level 44 teleporter where the Ash Lords and Berserkers used to be. Ash Lords and Berserkers are now found south of the wilderness wall near the volcano and the Elite Dungeon 2 entrance, and yes, you can still safe spot them using this rock, but it is going to be different than before. Ripper Demons now use their special attack inside the wilderness even if you haven't attacked them first, which means that AoE method I covered a few months ago is now dead. The Mando Slayer Master should now be even more useless, as you no longer gain extra Slayer points as there's no threat level system anymore, and the Wilderness Slayer chest rewards have been reduced. Rolling Gloves no longer function the way they used to based on your wilderness level increasing the experience buff, and instead just give you the base 50% XP buff. Rolling Gloves are no longer obtainable outside of the wilderness. Now I'm not sure why they did this, but I've heard from a certain J mod that they're also buffing the rates inside the wildy sacks for those rolling gloves at the same time. I don't see why they needed to remove them from like Prif Elves, for example, but they did. One thing I noticed is that the prayer rolling gloves now seem to stack with the powdered burials in an interesting way. Charming Moth's base hunter and agility experience has been reduced, aka nerfed, but the demonic skulls bonus to the Charming Moths has been increased from a 20% bonus or buff to 40% when wearing the demonic skull or placing it in your inventory, as it now also works from your inventory according to this week's news post. Jagex also nerfed the high level safe cracking experience rates. Now actually, they destroyed them in case you were AFKing the 3 safes in the wilderness, as they doubled the respawn time on the saves from 5 to 10 minutes, effectively having your experience per hour. Not only does this affect the AFK version at level 90 thieving, but also the active safe cracking run at level 94 thieving because the cooldown is so long. The reasoning, of course, is the threat system removal, but that system was never really a problem when AFKing here at all. I mean, mobs got stuck and you had volcanic protection items, so nerfing the experience rates is completely unnecessary, and I hope they revert their changes. Bloodwood trees now function the same in and outside of the wilderness and are buffed by the Infernal Puzzle Box Gillinor wide. There have also been some lighting fixes, including the Ripper Demon Cave and the Sophonim Slayer dungeon, and the East Chaos Altar now has its offer option again. Now, if I'm being entirely honest, Jagex's recent nerfs, including the wildy ones from this week, have been incredibly harsh. For that reason, it's worrying to see the announcement of upcoming balance changes to the Animate Dead spell and the Fractured Staff of Armadyl. While Animate Dead is strong, I don't feel like it needs a big nerf, but perhaps a minor nerf would be fitting. It really should have never been part of the magic combat style to begin with, and instead part of melee, but here we are. The FSOA being changed 1.5 years after release is also quite odd to see, especially because it was nerfed quite quickly after its initial release. Perhaps it isn't a nerf to the weapon and instead a change to rune consumption. They'll be sharing more details for a Reddit post on Thursday, so let's just wait and see until that drops. With that being said, I hope you guys enjoyed this video and found it interesting, and if you did, leave a like down below and maybe even consider subscribing, and I'll catch you guys in the next one. Peace.